And welcome back to Queen City Cardboard. Thanks for joining me again. This is episode 2 of Blasphemous. We just entered the first town, got some civilians going about doing civilian things, and we're learning a little bit more about the world that we are saving, I hope.
Sorrowful be the heart, penitent one. Welcome to Albero, sanctuary to this humble brotherhood of the kisses of wounds. Few remain here who can still employ it, but Tirso is my name. There are few of us who still care for the sick and ailing. With devout kisses we bless the wounds of those who seek our protection. Thus both we and they remain at the mercy of the miracle. Time outside these walls passes by strangely. In sundowns, we need not contemplate. But if your penance happens to carry you under said skies, be so kind as to bring us some ingredients for our ointments. The will in the miracle shall show you which ones they are.
Alright, so again, it seems we have the miracle with a capital M as the stand-in for God in this scenario. We have a religious order dedicated to healing, which is nice. Good to see some people doing good and not the whole of the religion dedicated just to slaying the unrighteous. But he's also alluding to... Oh, wait. That morning, when the bonfires were lit and the convicts were raising their ghastly pleas to the indifferent inquisitors, a white dove came down from heaven and perched on the shoulder of a prisoner, where it stayed until it burned with him. That's, I don't know if that's hopeful or not. But the fellow also alluded to the idea that sunsets don't occur with the same frequency as they do in town, as they do outside in the wilderness. So I don't know if we're in a time bubble or something, or if the miracle or the absence of the miracle is so bizarre that it literally makes time pass differently, inside or out. Mystery for another time, I hope. Ooh. A linen-draped altar. 8 figures.
Penitent one, you who carry the painful guilt in your cracked hands. Lend it to us and alleviate our burden. Lend it to us and wipe away our tears. Because it is an act of penitence.
More skulls on the hilt. And a martyr figure. Visit Mea Culpa shrines to increase the power of your sword. You can spend Tears of Atonement. So that's what we've been gathering from the creatures. Well, let's be honest, the people we've been killing. Which begs the question, what their role is. Okay, let's see. We can extend the combo. We can do a power attack. A couple more things. But yeah, it does beg the question what the role of the other people are in this world. Like, what happens outside the wilderness? Is there some kind of madness going on? Or are people losing faith because of some cataclysm? It also occurred to me, replaying the beginning of this under a different save file, there's piles and piles of spikes, what look like spikes, just littered about the background of that first opening area where we fought that introductory boss. Those weren't spikes, those were other helmets, like what the penitent one is wearing. What looked like the drill thread going around was that thread of barbed wire wrapped around the the helmets. So the penitent one that we are playing
Upon the winch of the Order of the True
is
Shrine.
probably not the first one to try to accomplish this.
Of those who were separated and forgotten, so we can grant them holy burial as our charitable rule prescribeth. Help us these poor souls.
Gratuitous eths.
Silence, the Order blesses you.
Well, at least some of these people are trying to do good. Another caged baby. Good on them placing collectibles in places that are easy to see but not easy to get to. Because that alludes to mechanics that will probably be unlocked shortly. Maybe a double jump, maybe a ranged attack. Something that can hit at that range. But yeah, they also said that the Tears of Atonement are what that icon in the upper right is called. Atonement being, well, atoning, trying to make up for mistakes. We just got 20 from that person. So are these? I'm really curious to know what the background is, why these creatures are what they are. I mean, those rock throwers clearly aren't human, but they might have been once. Their faces kind of remind me of, oh, what's that creature called? I don't know. Like a predator, kind of. But the fact that they have Tears of Atonement, hopefully I'm not reading too much into this, but if it's anything like the Dark Souls games, then this lore means something. They're trying to convey information about the world, about the story, even about the penitent one themselves through this in-game information, rather than just giving the story to you outright, like most RPGs or action RPGs do. Ow. Dodge the statue. Do it. Okay. Hey, past me. You can't dodge that. Yeah, it's kind of begging the question is not the right phrase. But it's prompting us to consider, I think, are these people in their right minds when they're fighting back against me? I'm not going to overthink the fact that they don't actually try to invade the town. They're just patrolling their little areas. Because if that was their goal and they were smart enough to push it, then this wouldn't be an action-adventure game, it would be a tower defense game. Ow. Heals. Ow. Running. Wait, we're going back? No. Stained glass windows. It looks like this facility used to be a church. Probably. Maybe a castle. What's over here? With more castles, more ruins in the background, more churches, probably. What they call this area, the land of buried churches, although clearly not all of them are buried. But still, that's a lot of very ornate... I wonder if this is one metropolis at one point, and some cataclysm happened that wrecked pretty much everything, but left the center intact, the place where we just were, or if those buildings in the distance are supposed to be other, like, townships. I don't know. So many questions. Some of which probably won't get answered. It seems like the lore that we found so far is personal in nature. Albiro. Albiro? I'll decide when I get there. Words and words. Fine. It doesn't matter. Save and heal up. These altars are pretty. Those pre-due shrines and the mea culpa shrine at the bottom. I like how those are framed. Very, very ornate frames, but a lot of curvature, a lot of movement inside them. It's very dynamic. Wasteland of the Buried Churches. That's what the area is called. Yeah, nothing deep in that observation. I just think they're pretty. I think this game is pretty. Pixel art is so underrated, although it's obviously been coming back the last few years. Grass interspersed on this wastelandy looking surfaces. Caves underneath. And the right control stick does give you a little bit of camera leeway, so you can kind of check the edges and try to see what's just beyond your field of vision. Which is nice. Little scouting feature and a little anti-frustration feature for when there's obviously something to see, but it's just at the edge. I hate feeling like some games, it can be done well for dramatic or tonal purposes, especially in horror games, but I don't like it when they frame a scene specifically with the intent of obfuscating something on the edge that you should be able to see. If it's a game like this, you should be able to get that information, since the action is all about observation and dodging. So that's good. Good on you, Team 17. Details on this, I'm gonna assume it's a church, a basilica, or something like that. Details on this place are a little bit lacking. Even the stained glass windows are just square panels. But hey, you can't win them all. And we have a lot more to see. Do what Piccolo tell you. Dodge. No. I skipped that accidentally. I think that said exemplar excommunicaris. Learn to dodge. We're going to learn to dodge, and we're going to get right back into the action. Right about now. And ooh, guild fragment recovered. That's it. That's interesting. Does that mean that the guilt is a power source that you lose a bit of when you die, or are you accumulating guilt, and that's what saps your power? Uvula of Proclamation. Ew. What's the scoop on that one, Penny? When the uvula is equipped, you have a chance of earning Tears of Atonement when destroying an object. Decree from His Holiness Escribar. It shall be called the Anointed Legion, said His Holiness. Under the armor their bodies shall be covered with bandages anointed with oils that I myself will bless. They will protect the Mother of Mothers as I will protect them. His Holiness. So we have a hierarchy. Multiple religious orders with different purposes, different intents. And I guess tears coming from objects, especially statues, is a fairly common trope in religious pseudo-Catholic-esque fiction, so I'm sorry that's the example I keep going back to, but it's the only frame of reference I have. Capitate of Baroque the Herald. Whether executions or lashings, Baroque was always there to proclaim them loudly, but his voice broke down gradually as, day by day, he had to announce the sentences of his entire family. My God. That's a heck of a box, too. The vibe I'm getting from this place is that nobody has had a good day and that the church is not doing great things. Except maybe that one order that we met back in town. The Brotherhood of Kissing Things to Heal Them, whatever it's called. But yeah, I will try to keep calling back to Catholicism to a minimum, but I at least have enough intelligence to recognize that they're not drawing on that. They're obviously not trying to make a direct parallel between what's happening here and the real world. But when you're writing fantasy, you write what you know, and you create hierarchies and political structures and such based on what's readily available. Heaven knows we've seen enough elves and dwarves and monarchies and social structures based on roads and cities and staying in specific places as opposed to more nomadic cultures. You write what you know, and you try to tweak it to make it interesting. Sword hearts. Equip a sword heart in Mea Culpa to modify its properties. They grant powerful upgrades, but always at a price. Heart of the Virtuous Pain. Sword core blessed with defensive prayers. Can be inserted into Mea Culpa, boosts the blocking stand, increasing its duration, but exposes the penitent one longer to the works and graces of the Sorrowful Miracle, second verse. The wind blew strongly through the fractures of the cathedral that the great tree had originated, lifting the ash, creating dense gray clouds, hiding the whole mother church and drowning her in a deep darkness of lead. The ground began to tremble. Then, as a terrible cry was heard from the depths of the mountain of ash, and that cry was joined by more and more guttural screams, animal roars, monsters, and one which was heard above all, the scream of an old man, which resounded gravely as out of the throat of a giant. Ominous. Unfortunately, we have no context for this, whether this is something that happened in the past or if this is a Revelations type thing. But I think we'll close it for there, and see you next time. We'll collect more bones, I guess, find more lore, and solve this mystery over a prolonged course of time. But thank you again for joining us, and as always, play to learn, play to live. Goodbye.